I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to talk about the year of 2018. What are my predictions for the world, as well as what are my predictions according to the astrological signs. And this is going to be based on your sidereal Vedic chart, which you can better understand what your sign is. And when I say sign, I'm referring to your ascendant, which is based on your birth time. So to figure out your Vedic ascendant and your Vedic moon sign, you can go to my website and go to the free chart calculator, which is galacticcenter.org. And once you have your Vedic ascendant or rising sign, or your moon sign, which reflects how you're going to be feeling throughout this year, you can better understand what sign to listen to. So with that, I'd like to talk about the trends of 2018. There are some amazing planetary configurations that are coming upon us. For one thing, Rahu and Ketu, as they're transiting through, Rahu is in Cancer, Ketu is in Capricorn. There's changes that are creating things coming up from government that are being exposed that have never, ever been brought up from the past. And I say from the past because Ketu, being in the sign of Capricorn, Ketu is bringing up things from the past. Ketu's the past. Capricorn is a sign of government. So there are major events occurring within the government that are changing, but based on the past, things are being exposed that we never thought could come out before. Revelations of past histories throughout the world. So this is important. Another major astrological event this year is Saturn is transiting through the sign of Sagittarius. It just entered. Remember, I'm talking about Vedic sidereal astrology, not tropical Western. So in the sidereal astrology, Saturn and Pluto are coming together in the sign of Sagittarius. This is always a major, major breakdown in governments and in leaders and world affairs. Things are changing. Another thing is, because we're looking at this condition of Rahu being in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, there's going to be a lot of issues relevant surfacing about women's issues and women coming into power. And Jupiter, as it transits in the sign of Libra, is bringing about the ability to come together with peace, with compromise, with balance. This is what Libra is all about. Libra as well is ruled by Venus, which also has a connotation, a representation of female energy. So we have the up and coming power of women. Women will be more empowered this year. There will be more leaders, female leaders coming about to help change the world. Another thing, because Jupiter in the sign of Libra, ruled by Venus, will bring out the arts, creativity. There'll be more films, more music that represent the human condition and feeling and emotion that is emerging right now in the consciousness of this world. So because Rahu in the sign of Cancer represents protection, represents the breakdown of the family unit, people are really questing to come back together with a sense of unity, a sense of belonging, a sense of not feeling as separate as we have over the past years. We're bringing together. So people are going to want to emerge in groups. This can facilitate more cults, more problems with people that unite for the wrong reasons, but they have to feel a sense of purpose. So this is where people are conjoining, coming together. Of course, with this, I went back in history, and the time that there was the most violent earthquake in the United States, which was the San Francisco earthquake back in the early 1900s. This scenario of what happened during that time, Rahu and Ketu were in the same positions. Rahu was in Cancer and Ketu was in Capricorn in 1906 when we had the huge San Francisco earthquake. So there will be more earthquakes, there will be more violence, there will be more earth changes and volcanic eruptions this year than normal. Where will it happen? I'm thinking the West. I'm not sure exactly where, but the western part of the United States. So another thing to be aware of, this coming summer, there is going to be a configuration of Mars coming together with Ketu. Mars is going to go retrograde this summer, and between May and November of 2018, Mars will be with Ketu. This connotes violence, anger, attacks. This will be a very hot summer with major difficulty, as well as I think this is going to be a very cold winter for the northern hemispheres. So reversing it to the southern hemispheres, weather will be more extreme on both sides. So regardless of southern or northern hemisphere, just realize that your seasons will be more intense. Another event happening with this Mars coming together with Ketu, there will be a lunar eclipse around July 27th that is potentially very dangerous in the world. And I say this because there will be a lineup of the Moon, Ketu, and Mars within 3 degrees. So this lineup promotes major breakdowns in governments and shifts and major changes with world leaders. Yes, everybody starts to think about Trump. There will be some major issues surfacing this summer around the president, so be aware. Now, Mars also, by the fact of its declination, will be what we call out of bounds, beyond the realm of the ecliptic. So this makes things even more dangerous as Mars is out of bounds, representing that things will be out of control, especially reflecting back to anger and aggression. So the world will be in a hostile place. There are things that are not working and people are fighting. But come the fall of 2018, and when I say fall, I guess I need to be clear because of the southern hemisphere, it is their spring. So the months of November through December, so during this time, Venus is going to go retrograde. When Venus goes retrograde, it brings the need for peace, and it's going to be in Libra, which is very, very powerful for bringing people together with a sense of peace based on the current of events that are happening from the summer. So now I want to talk about each sign of the zodiac. So if your ascendant or moon are in Aries, this means that you will have that Mars-Ketu conjunction transiting in your 10th house. And Rahu will be in your 4th house. This means that you're changing jobs. There is definitely major shifts and changes going on in your career. There's a change in your company. There's a change in your status. Probably your boss will change. But career is not necessarily as satisfying as it once was, and you're going to find that it's going to change. There's a possibility that you could move based on Rahu in the 4th house. Jupiter in your 7th, new love, new relationships, growth in the area of coming together and finding the perfect one, harmony. Saturn in the 9th, you're not necessarily too keen on what's happening in the world. You feel a definite change in how you believe. You look at the hypocrisy going on in the world and it bothers you. So you're changing how you believe. Venus in the fall will join Jupiter in your 7th house. This can reflect engagement or marriage. If you're not with someone, you will be. If your ascendant or your moon is in the sign of Taurus, then this means that Rahu is in your 3rd house, representing separation and changes around the area of education and possibly misunderstandings or healings that must come together between you and your siblings, brothers or sisters. Ketu and Mars will be in your 9th house. This can represent problems with teachers, with people of authority, or particularly there could be some problems concerning your father or anyone that represents a father image to you. Also with Taurus ascendant, this means that Jupiter is in your 6th house. And this can definitely mean that your health is a focus. You're wanting to get healthier, you want to get stronger, and you will have the courage and the need to change your diet, change your exercise programs, change your habits. But Jupiter in the 6th house can also promote your work and the people that you work for, finding much more support and togetherness, and employees will be very beneficial and extremely helpful. Saturn's in your 8th house. You are definitely coming together with plans with your finances, the future of your finances, but don't be too much dependent on where the money's coming, because you might be disappointed as money does not come through for you the way you expected. If your ascendant or moon are in Gemini, then we're looking at Jupiter in your 5th house. The 5th house is all about creativity. So you're going to have a year of great new ideas, being vastly more creative. Maybe it's time for you to write that book or get back into art, things of that nature. But the family unit has a possibility of growing. Maybe a chance at children, births of new babies. The family will grow and children will prosper and have great opportunities in your life. So this also means that Rahu's transiting your 2nd house, which is the house of finances and money. So therefore, this is going to be a year of great gains financially for you. Ketu in the 8th house, this is a time of mystical realizations, psychic energy, intuition, major things concerning new ideas that come from, you feel like you're channeling information. But Ketu in the 8th house, don't be too dependent on your resources concerning other people. You must be independent with the sense of where the resources are coming for you. So this also puts Mars. Remember that conjunction of Mars and Ketu between May through November. This is a very intense time. There can be endings. There could be some problems for brothers or sisters in your life. They may have some health issues. This is something that has to be regarded and checked out. But looking at the fact that Saturn is now transiting in the 7th house for you, This can mean stresses on relationships and possibility that your partner is just not around as much. There's a sense of not feeling together, being more detached. Relationships will be tested during this year. So if your ascendant is Cancer or your moon, you can expect relationships to really go through an upheaval and change. There can be some breakups because remember, between May and November, Mars and Ketu are going to be transiting your house of serious relationships and marriage. So this is going to be a time of fights, discontent, arguments, and possibly the transformation of healing through this. So also for Cancer, Jupiter's in your 4th house. So if you've been wanting to move, find a bigger place, move to a place with more space, this is the year. And home and family are together. Issues around mother, you will be closer to your mother, closer to your family. And Saturn in the 6th house, you are working harder. There's more purpose, there's more of a goal, a reason to work. But watch your health. Don't be overstressed. Do not overdo where you hurt your health. Because remember, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. That should be your motto. But home and family are in a good place. You're feeling a sense of home, togetherness, but watch those relationships. If your ascendant is Leo or your moon, this means that Mars Ketu between May and November will be in your 6th house. So the 6th house is the house of health and healing. Also, Mars Ketu can make you a bit more impulsive, impatient, therefore accident prone. Take care, be calm. And if you are in a work situation where you're not too friendly with your coworkers, there can be some serious breakups and problems, and don't depend on your employees to come through. So Rahu is in your 12th house, which means your sleep is not going so well. You're waking up, you're not resting well, probably because of the concerns going on at work. And please take extra caution taking care of your health this year. Get the checkups. Don't procrastinate. Saturn's in your 5th house, so you're more serious about what you want to activate and bring into the world. You feel more serious about all life's situations, particularly if you have children. And this could be the year that children can come into your life, maybe not planned, but it will be a blessing. So education is a focus for all Leo ascendants. Why? Because Jupiter is in the 3rd house of learning, education, and travel. So a lot more traveling. Maybe you're taking up a new commute, but you're going back and forth a lot. But new learning, education, classes will really grow this year and give you the opportunities that you're looking for in the future. So if your ascendant is Virgo, then this means that Ketu Mars are transiting in your 5th house. This will be between particularly May and November. So this is a time when fabulous insights just come into your mind, consciousness, creative projects will be on an upswing, and you will feel motivated and driven. But if you have children, please be cautious as to their whereabouts, because this can cause some problems with children. Also, Rahu in the 11th, you're meeting very influential people that can really help direct your world and your career much better. Much more money and opportunities will come through people, powerful people, and your work. Jupiter in the 2nd house Virgo is the sign that is going to be the most financially successful with huge opportunities, growth in the financial world, and the way that you look at and organize your finances and money will change, and it will be much better. But Saturn's in the 4th house. So you're not so happy with your living conditions or where you are. You may be thinking about moving, but it's not necessarily the best time to move, even though you may be forced to at some point. There can be some problems and issues around the family, and particularly for your mother. So if your ascendant is Libra, then Ketu and Mars are transiting your 4th house. This is particularly around the summer months, or May through November. And what this is about is breakups in the family, problems around family issues and gatherings, arguments within the family, particularly maybe around your mother, or maybe some losses concerning your mother. But for Libra, Jupiter just transited into the 1st house. This is a new awakening, new beginnings, new revelations. Life is different. All of last year you were closing out, preparing for this new start, new beginning. You see the world differently, and so many more opportunities are being present. Relationships are growing, becoming more intense, deeper, and committed. So Saturn in the 3rd house during this time can deal with problems with education and schooling. So if you are currently in school, you may find it's going to be a lot tougher. Maybe the teachers are not as understanding or clear. You may have a delay or postponement of your education. But otherwise, with Saturn being in the 3rd house, remember there can be some issues and problems around your siblings, brothers and sisters. And maybe your siblings, brothers and sisters, are having their own issues and own problems in their life. Recognize that this is a time that you can heal and help. So if your ascendant is Scorpio, or your moon in Scorpio, you have such a relief this year because Saturn has shifted out of Scorpio finally, and there's a new added relief. So Saturn will now be in your 2nd house, which can mean organizations with money, with finances. Sometimes it just means you work harder, but you are more productive. But be careful of spending. It can mean that there's some unexpected expenses. With Mars and Ketu in your 3rd house, this will deal with problems and breakups with brothers or sisters. It can also mean that your willpower, your drive, your ambition becomes highly attuned and powerful, and you can get things done. But be careful driving, because there can be a tendency to be overly impulsive and speed. This can cause accidents, so take caution in that area. You're learning, you're growing, more information's coming. With Rahu, though, in the 9th house, there can be some issues around your dad, your father, or spirituality. You're changing the way you believe because you're learning new concepts and ideas. With Jupiter in the 12th house, pay attention to your dreams. You're having visions, you're having psychic experiences and very vivid dreams that can be prophetic. But Jupiter also in the 12th house can bring back people and new awarenesses of the past, what's happened before, and connections to people you haven't seen in many years. It's a time of bringing back old memories, being sentimental, having old feelings return. and this can be extremely powerful and very healing. If your ascendant is Sagittarius, Saturn has just entered your sign. So your ascendant or your moon in Sagittarius, this means it's a time of getting serious. Bigger events concerning, basically concerning your whole life. You become heavily inundated with more responsibility. So you're going to be caring for others. You're going to be doing things that for other people for the most part. But life is changing. Relationships are changing. Things are more serious. With Mars and Ketu in your second house, there may be some unexpected expenses that all of a sudden come up. This is during May through November. And be careful what you say, because you can be very hurtful with words. Watch what comes out of your mouth. Also, be very careful about what you're eating. You have the tendency to not eat well and possibly take in things that are not good for you, and watch out for distress with the stomach or food poisoning. Be careful what you eat. Rahu in the 8th house represents money can be coming to you through other people, possibly through marriage or through inheritance. And when we see Jupiter in the 11th house, you're attracting new friends, new groups, new connections and associations that are extremely powerful. But most of all, just coming together with a new sense of friendship and camaraderie with others that you've missed over a long period of time. So new friends will come into your life. So if your ascendant is Capricorn, your ascendant or your moon, then this means that Mars and Ketu are in your first house, and particularly between May and November, things become very intense. You can become much more active, but recognize you can be too impulsive. Want to move way too fast. Slow down. Take time to really analyze what you're thinking and what you're doing. This is important for the transformation of your life, because this is what's occurring this year. Jupiter's in the 10th house. Career prospects grow. There's opportunities that you never dreamed of. And there are promotions. And possibly this could be the year that you open your own business. This is a positive. With Rahu in your 7th house, though, recognize that there are going to be problems with your marriage and relationships. Things that possibly you ignored need to be analyzed in order for the relationship to grow together instead of separating. Saturn in the 12th house, you may not be sleeping. There's worry, there's concerns, especially over things that have occurred in the past. Take note of the things that you have not been recognizing or being aware of. You have to be more conscious and aware of your past doings. They're going to come back to haunt you. So if your ascendant is Aquarius, your ascendant or your moon, then this means that the Mars-Ketu conjunction will be in your 12th house. And particularly around May and November, this will be intense. There are those behind the scenes, secret enemies that could be talking about you, or jealous. There's a lot of contention and people that are causing you problems from behind the scenes. But also be very cautious and aware to have protection. Either an alarm system, security system. This can represent thieves or robbers. Your sleep is disturbed. You are not sleeping soundly. Make sure that you take care of yourself so that you can rest. The 12th house is hospitals. You may find you're visiting these more so than not. more than you have. This doesn't necessarily mean yourself. But Rahu in the 6th house, you're working harder, but you've got to remember not to overdo during this period. Jupiter is in your 9th house, world travel, traveling to faraway places, going to the places for spiritual pilgrimages, to feed your need for truth, for spirituality, for learning, higher education. This is your year to expand and grow with this. Also a closer relationship you can look forward to with your father, or finding a spiritual teacher. Saturn in the 11th, old outgrown friendships will end, and possibly there's some problems with your friends. And you'll feel more isolated and alone. But this is closing the door to old friendships. But of course, when one door closes, another opens. You're renewing yourself so that you will have more healing and more prosperous and just more that feed your soul, relationships and friendships. So if your ascendant is Pisces, then, or your moon, then the Mars K2, and especially through May through November, will be in your 11th house. The 11th house is the house of groups, friends, and organizations. So there will be a break with this. But at the same time, this is powerful energy. This can bring some extremely valuable and powerful people into your life. Just be aware of those that do not have your best intentions at hand. Eliminate them from your life. This will help you. But this also puts Rahu in the 5th house, and this can represent there can be problems with children. And if you have grown children, then your oldest child's spouse, if they're in a relationship or a serious relationship, can break. There will be problems. So Jupiter, as it transits through the 8th house, this represents money comes to you through other people. And this can also mean, inheritance. This can mean money through marriage, gains through others. But Saturn's in your 10th house. You're not happy with your work. You need more stimulation, more fulfillment through your job, through your career, and you're searching for this. So going back to the Mars K2 in the 11th, remember that this is a time of coming together to better understand yourself, because friends are not going to be as supportive as you thought. So that pretty much ties up everything I wanted to say for all 12 signs of the zodiac. And the world. The world is changing, and it is evolving to a much, much better place. Because what is ahead for us in 2019, in 2020, we are in preparation for. This will be the biggest change that is transpiring ever in consciousness on planet Earth. So if you would like more information about Vedic astrology, remember you can always go to my website, or if you would like a reading, it is galacticcenter.org. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, I have a university, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.